If everyone's butting heads with the manager, the turnover can be just absurd. It can just be insane. So what you want to do is hire a manager that has great people skills. In the beginning, I was a paranoid micromanager. And that's just because I was scared. That typically comes out of fear when the owner or whoever is not trusting. In order to go passive, right? So let's talk about what is needed in order to actually get to the point where you're running your business pretty much absentee. Is number one, the most important thing that you'll need is an operator or manager, right? There's a couple ways that you can do this. You could hire a manager, give them a profit share. They need to have some sort of incentive, right? The managers need to be incentivized, not just have a pure salary, but they need to have an incentive based on what it is that you're wanting them to accomplish in the business. So as an example, my manager, I built out my own quarterly incentive program for him that was based on hitting a certain percentage of labor cost. I wanted our labor cost to be 25% or lower. I wanted our food cost, I think, to be about 25% or lower. And I wanted us to have a certain amount of reward activations, meaning people signing up for our loyalty program, like when you enter your phone number or scan the key card or whatever. And we wound up being number one and we would toggle between number one and number two in the entire franchise system with loyalty signups. Now, part of that was we were a new store, but we were really aggressive and I had those guys trained. I created scripts for them. I would test them on the scripts. So this is what being an owner operator does, right? You can get things running tight like a well-oiled machine. And so anyways, back to what you need is you definitely need a manager. They've got to be incentivized on key metrics that you want them to hit. So typically you want one for sales, you want one around customer experience or reviews or satisfaction, you want some around marketing, etc. So you design that. And it's important that you hire a manager that can work well with people, because in your absence, other team members in your business will either stay or leave solely because of the manager. If everyone's butting heads with the manager, the turnover can be just absurd. It can just be insane. So what you want to do is hire a manager that has great people skills. Now, when I had my manager at my initial store, he wasn't the best with people skills. He was a young guy. He was like 23, 24 years old at the time. So he just didn't have that experience under his belt or how to navigate and deal with that. And so there was a little bit of a wake at times left behind with, some conflict that would happen. And so that was something that, I had to get involved with or deal with, or we'd have turnover, et cetera. But you're never going to get the perfect manager, right? So it's really about the overall pros and cons for the manager. So overall pros and cons, right? And so, there, as long as they have 80% of what you need, then you're good to go, right? You can start to train and develop on certain skill sets. Here's what is required: trust and integrity. If you can't trust your manager, and not because you're just paranoid, which in the beginning I was a paranoid, what do they call it? Micromanager, right? And that's just because I was scared. That typically comes out of fear, right? When the owner or whoever is not trusting. We had $300 grand into this investment into the franchise out of our home. So if I had to micromanage, I was going to micromanage. I didn't care. This was going to work. I didn't care what I had to do. So, but as we got going, as I developed trust in my manager, different things like that, we had all of our shift leaders had access to the safe, and they were equipped to make bank deposits and cash drops, right? So we got the night drop bags that are these secure plastic bags. They would go deposit at the bank, but we had checks and balances in place to review those things. They would have to do a cash log of all of our petty cash, and we had the point of sale reports that would say how much cash we received in the day. I would input that manually into a report. That was one of the things that I would do. So I'd be able to see on a day-to-day basis, hey, we took in X number of cash, but this is how much that got deposited. What happened here? And we didn't have any issues there. Not at that store. At the other store, yeah, that was just that was a fun thing overall. But anyway, so you have to trust your manager. That's super important. If you enjoyed this short clip from the podcast, you can check out another short clip right here. Or if you want to watch the full episode of this podcast, you can watch that here. And remember, knowledge is not power. It's applied knowledge that's power. Take care. Have a great rest of your day.